What's up, Popwave Nation? Get ready for a rapid-fire download of the news that's got everyone talking. First up, we're revisiting the absolutely gripping and controversial case of Amanda Knox. With new documentaries and specials diving deep into her story, we're talking about the twists, the turns, and the enduring questions surrounding her conviction in Italy. Next, we're peeling back the layers on how the new Hulu series, The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox, is aiming to reclaim her narrative. This isn't just another true crime retelling. It's about understanding the media frenzy, the biases, and Amanda Knox's own fight to tell her side of the story after years of public scrutiny. And speaking of the twisted tale of Amanda Knox, we're going to dive into the specifics of episode 6, which shows a pivotal moment of hope and resilience for Amanda. We'll explore the courtroom drama, the expert testimonies challenging the original investigation, and Amanda's powerful closing statements. Finally, we're wrapping up our deep dive into the Amanda Knox saga by looking at the incredible impact these new series are having on how we perceive the case and the individual. It's a story that continues to fascinate and spark debate. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell to stay in the loop. The shocking case of Amanda Knox. This isn't just a story, it's a deep dive into a case that captivated and divided the world. In 2007, a young Amanda Knox, just 20 years old and studying abroad in Perugia, Italy, found her life irrevocably altered by the brutal murder of her roommate, Meredith Kercher. What followed was a media storm and a legal battle that saw Knox, along with her then-boyfriend Raffaele Salcedo, accused and convicted of a crime that has continued to be debated for years. Now, attorney and spokesperson Anne Bremner is revisiting this sensational case in the new Fox Nation special, Framed, the Amanda Knox Story. It's a chance to re-examine the evidence, the public perception, and the lasting impact of a trial that became a global spectacle. This special promises to shed new light on the complexities and controversies that still surround Amanda Knox. Viewers are already buzzing about how these new documentaries are forcing a re-evaluation of the initial judgments made. Many are questioning the role of media bias and the very foundation of the justice system that convicted Knox. Prepare yourselves, because the narrative is shifting, and we're not done with this story yet. Get ready to explore how a new Hulu series is taking control of the conversation. How the twisted tale of Amanda Knox will reclaim Knox's narrative in final 2 episodes. This gripping Hulu docuseries, The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox, has been meticulously re-examining the infamous 2007 murder conviction of Amanda Knox for the brutal killing of her roommate, Meredith Kercher. While the early episodes focused on the initial investigation and trial, the recent installments delve into the convictions of Knox and her boyfriend at the time, Raffaele Salcedo, in 2009. Marking just the beginning of their arduous legal journeys. The 6th episode, Culpable, meaning guilty, captures the intense public reaction to the end of a year-long trial that was marred by relentless media scrutiny and global public shaming of Knox. Executive producer Warren Littlefield emphasized the series' goal to move beyond the sensationalized, foxy Knoxy persona and present the real Amanda. He stated, "With those sentencing and ultimately this trial where she was convicted, there were theories put forward, but none of those over time held up. It was not evidence." The series also brings in the perspective of Monica Lewinsky, who, like Knox, experienced intense public judgment, and together they co-produced this series, aiming to explore the anatomy of bias and how media agendas can shape public perception. Knox herself shared, "Living through this kind of experience leaves this lifelong mark on you that nobody can really understand." The series highlights her fight for innocence, the trauma of a coerced confession, and her eventual 4-year imprisonment before her acquittal. Showrunner KJ Steinberg, after extensive research, developed a firm belief in her innocence, noting the pervasive misogyny and misinformation that clouded the case. The series promises to go beyond the verdict, exploring the ecosystem that allowed the injustice to occur and Amanda's struggle to reclaim her identity. Fans are actively discussing the series' deep dive into the systemic issues and media manipulation, with many expressing newfound empathy for Knox and questioning their own initial judgments. The collaboration with Monica Lewinsky is also a major talking point, seen as a powerful alliance of survivors. But the story doesn't end with the conviction and appeal. We're about to get into the nitty-gritty of a specific episode that showcases Amanda's turning point. Stay tuned for the details of episode 6. We need to talk about The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox on Hulu ASAP. This new biographical miniseries, The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox on Hulu, is forcing a crucial conversation by shedding light on the infamous 2007 murder trial entirely from Knox's perspective. I, like many viewers, haven't been able to stop thinking about it since watching. Amanda Knox herself, featured in a new special, Search for the Truth, The Amanda Knox Story, also on Hulu, powerfully articulates the media's distorted narrative. It was a tantalizing story, how they took a 20-year-old girl and turned her into their fantasy of a sex monster. I was the slut, and she was the virgin, and the idea was that I decided to orchestrate a murder orgy to punish Meredith for her virginity, for her purity. Knox emphasizes, this was never really about the evidence, it was about the story. I never really felt like I had the power to prove my innocence. Grace Van Patten, who portrays Knox in the series, shared the fulfillment of being part of a version where Knox is actively involved in reclaiming her narrative. Monica Lewinsky, a fellow survivor of intense public scrutiny, draws parallels, stating, I don't know what it's like to be wrongfully convicted. I don't know what it's like to be wrongfully imprisoned. But I do know, and did, know what it was like to be thrust onto a world stage without having chosen to do that, and we're now looking at these kinds of stories years later through a new lens. She hopes the series encourages viewers to re-examine not only Amanda's story, but to maybe think twice before we just go all in on the judgment. Knox reflects on the betrayal by institutions she trusted, stating, these institutions that I had been raised to believe in and trust had betrayed me. She adds poignantly, part of this story is how I'm grieving Meredith Kircher, alongside grieving the life that I could have lived, the life she could have lived. You're never the same person after something like that. The public reaction is overwhelmingly one of shock and a desire to understand the full picture, with many praising the series for giving a voice back to Amanda Knox and highlighting the dangers of sensationalism. Now, let's get into the specific turning point that episode 6 of The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox so brilliantly captures. It's a story of resilience that you won't want to miss. The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox episode 6 recap. Amanda finds hope as the appeal trial begins. Hulu's compelling docuseries, The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox, starring Grace Van Patten, offers a profound exploration of Amanda Knox's wrongful conviction for the 2007 murder of Meredith Kircher. Each episode meticulously dissects the rushed investigation and the highly publicized trial that devastated the lives of not only Amanda Knox, but also her former boyfriend, Rafael Salcido. In episode 6, titled Culpable, Guilty, the narrative powerfully shifts to Amanda's experience post-sentencing and the beginning of her appeal trial, showcasing a remarkable journey from despair to a burgeoning sense of hope. Following her 26-year sentence, Amanda falls into a deep depression, but crucially, she chooses to actively fight for her freedom rather than succumb to her circumstances. The episode highlights the critical appeal trial where the prosecution's case begins to unravel. Two DNA experts present compelling evidence, demonstrating the mishandling and contamination of crucial evidence by the Italian police, and pointing out that the minimal amount of Meredith's DNA found on the knife did not meet international forensic standards. The prosecution's closing statement is depicted as weak, relying heavily on sensationalism and attempts to portray Amanda as a disturbed individual. Amanda herself delivers a brave and impassioned closing statement, speaking not only for herself, but also for Rafael, recounting the profound impact of Meredith's death and her own anguish over being imprisoned for a crime she maintains she did not commit. She directly challenges the police authorities for their manipulation and calls for justice. The episode concludes with Amanda awaiting the verdict, having found a renewed sense of self-advocacy and strength. Viewers are deeply moved by Amanda's resilience and the exposé of the flawed investigation. Social media is abuzz with discussions about the expert testimonies and Amanda's courageous closing statement, with many expressing renewed conviction in her innocence and anger at the systemic failures. This episode marks a significant turning point, but what happens next? We'll give you a glimpse into how the story continues to unfold and the impact it's having. So there you have it, Popwave fam. We've plunged into the intense world of Amanda Knox, exploring the new documentaries and series that are forcing us to re-examine the case, her narrative, and the very nature of justice and media influence. From the Fox Nation special Framed, the Amanda Knox Story, to Hulu's The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox. Amanda's story continues to spark critical conversations about bias, wrongful conviction, and the fight for truth. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Popwave for all your breaking entertainment news, and ring that notification bell so you're the first to know when we drop new videos. Let us know your thoughts on the Amanda Knox case in the comments below, and follow us on all our socials to join the conversation.